Nahaganisinga, Zanabechu, Nanabia, Dachina. Welcome back, everyone, to Rising Warriors. Rachael Kulei. I am Navi Mia Dachina, woman that travels with the stars. I am enrolled with the Northwest Band of Shoshone Nation. And today I have my brother Wayne back on with us today. And I'm excited for this one. We are going to be talking about star people today. And before we get started, though, we're going to have brother here introduce himself, and then I asked him to do a prayer for us before we get started. So we'll go ahead and go ahead.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you so much for having me on again. This is such an honor and a pleasure to be here and to talk about all those really cool things. Those really cool things. Big people, little people, star people, and
Mysterious.
yes, the beautiful, mysterious. My name is Wayne William Snellgrove, Shoshone Tribe, Fishing Lake First Nation, Saskatchewan, Canada. Nakaway people, Treaty 4 territory. My spirit name is Kanipa Witmakwa, and my other name that I also walk with is Morning Eagle, given to me by my direct elder, Tony Stonehawk from the Nanticoke Nation. So let's begin. Let's begin in a beautiful way with a beautiful prayer, a little pinch of tobacco for and those of you who have any smudge can also smudge at this time too. Creator, Great Spirit, Kitchumanitou, Megwitch, thank you. Kawazana me. I love you. We love you. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for this circle. Thank you for bringing us here today. It is a special day when we talk about beautiful things, and we're going to talk about our most beautiful ancestors today, and what an honor, what a privilege it is to sit with them and be reminded of them, and that we are part of them. Again, we come to today. We mean no harm in what we do. Come here today to celebrate life, to celebrate our life, to celebrate all life, especially those that have come before us, and also to celebrate those that will come after us. So this makes us happy. Oh, all right, good. Oh, good. Fantastic. So,
Star people.
Star people. Yes. Um, where do you want to begin?
From the beginning. No.
Pops always says, begin at the beginning. Let me.
From the beginning.
Okay, well, let's start at the beginning. That's what Pops always said. Hey, Pops, where do I start? At the beginning. Like, okay, all right. I was hoping for something a little bit more, but that's really direct and really true. So yeah, star people. We, star people. But there's a couple things, a couple kind of preamble things that we have to take a look at before to kind of introduce the realm that we're going to talk about today. We're going to throw some numbers around. Let's take a look at this. At our best human guesstimation of how old the universe is, it's 13.8 billion years. That's what it'd be. Billion years. That's a long time. And so the Earth has been here for 4.5 billion years. Again, a very long time. Let's throw some more numbers at you, and just to kind of paint a picture of what we're kind of where we as humans are at. So the earliest, and these numbers vary from site to site, but anthropologists say the earliest two-legged uh, species, not necessarily Homo sapiens, but have been around for 90,000 years, and then the latest, kind of the latest and greatest, kind of us. Well, I'm not saying that we're the greatest, but the latest, it could be the latest big mistake that there is here. we've been around for about 12,000 years. So just to give you an idea, if the universe is 13.8 billion years, and we've been around for um, 12,000 years, and it's really, we're talking about spiritual growth here. It's really kind of like the undercurrent of what we're talking about here. So again, we're just setting the stage here, a little back information. We as a species are still in like the spiritual Neanderthal stages kind of thing. And we have to understand that science, spirituality, math, they will all eventually come together. Now they're all in like different realms. So we're not even together, spiritually, math and science. We haven't even got that together yet. So we're still in spirit says, once we get to that point, math, science, and spirit will come to will come. That's one of the really beautiful, deeper teachings of the medicine wheel. Again, the main premise of the medicine wheel is that we are all related. So let's just stick there. So Galileo 16 something discovered that that Earth isn't the center of the universe.
Right.
Earth around that time, 1492, whatever. We also discovered that the Earth was round type of thing. So basically, we're like we as humans, the two-legged, discovered that we basically discovered the wheel as far as like that's kind of where we're at now. And the wheel is like a basic wheel, like the medicine wheel, shows that we're all connected. So that's something to take a look at. And that was only a few hundred years ago. 400 years ago. So let's talk about a few hundred years ago to 13.8 billion years ago. So that gives us, we're trying to look at what I was talking to Rachael for the show, and saying, and we have to kind of make them realize that there's a scale here,
right,
and kind of look. There's a backdrop that Rachael put there, and it's a backdrop of the universe. Just take a pen and just put it on like a little star right there, and just know that star is millions of light years away from the next star type thing. So to give us an idea, now Earth, Earth, we are two-legged, are very closed-minded and selfish, and we're really trying to, like Neanderthal stages, trying to get over that. When I talk to people about star people, they kind of roll their eyes and be like, "Oh yeah, whatever, man." Just kind of like, they live in a little closet somewhere, spiritual closet where they really can't see beyond. And really, that's an extension of thinking that we are the center of the universe. That's in alignment, with that thinking. And we really have to understand that the Earth is a rock, and we're flying through space right now. We're going millions of miles an hour through space, right now as we speak. So, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Take a deep breath, everyone.
Yes. So, and let's take a look for a minute, and again, this is more like a practical start to what we're really talking about here. We can go into spiritual and religion and all that, mysticism and all that, and we might touch upon that later. But I think we're going to have a part two. I'm feeling a part two coming on. I feel a part two coming on already. So feeling that, just
we
put that
like
out there. So
1 hour just isn't enough.
It just we just don't have enough time, man. We really just don't have enough time. So so like the main premise here is kind of the medicine wheel. Like again, it's something that I talk about all the time in my morning meditations. Your basic medicine wheel, and the basic premise is that everything is connected, and everything is connected here on Earth. And we again are spiritual Neanderthals because we can't figure out that we are exactly related to the trees. The same DNA that is in the tree is within us. The same DNA that is in the dog is within us. The same genetic code, and we're
Right.
having a hard time really connecting and understanding that. So
Right.
right now we as indigenous, this is the ancestral teachings that have been passed down to us from millennium to millennium to hundreds of generations,
Hmm.
and what a great teaching. So if everything, let me just say this, if everything is related, how can we not be related to other star nations that are out there? We are at best 12,000 years old in our latest human edition,
Hmm.
kind of thing. Trying to talk the colonial vernacular here. We are the latest edition um, here. Let's look at 13.8 billion years ago. I really doubt that that creator who created everything just decided one day to create one species in one little backwater planet in some little solar system. Remember, there are billions
Hmm.
of solar systems out there, and we are just part of one, Milky Way, one that has probably a billion stars.
Uh-huh.
So the practical end to this is that that there could be, and we as my personal belief, and the ancestors that came before me, is that there are other life forms out there, and so that's a really strong. But again, let's take a look at we are still again, I keep on pinging the spiritual Neanderthals type thing. We
Uh-huh.
can't even, as a species, get along with each other. What's to say that we're that all of a sudden, like the introduction of other star people into our earthly realm, human here on Earth, probably won't go that well because obviously, Ku Klux Klan, the blacks, everybody's Arab, this, right, left, everybody's fighting everybody else. And, we can't even figure out how to get along ourselves,
Right.
let alone,
Right.
like, even, the introduction of other other life forms, and whether it's two-legged, it could be,
Even a four-legged.
yeah, a lot like, four legs. We don't even know what kind well, energetically,
Hmm.
we kind of have a good idea. But that's just this is a conversation that we really have to have to really set the stage for going into more deeper realms of
Hmm.
because I don't think I really don't think that we are at the apex of universal intelligence. That's what I think. I
Right.
really don't. I think we are somewhere, and these are really practical terms. Like take a look. Let's just take a look at what we've done to the earth, and as we are the apex here, um, the physical apex. Humans are the physical apex on earth. What are we doing to our planet? Type thing.
Hmm.
What are we doing to other species that are here? You know, are we really taking care of the species here? And I say that to say this is, you know, what are, just a question, just throwing that out there. Um, how are other species out there? Yeah, so basically, what I'm saying is that the apex species, we really haven't learned to take care of our own yet.
Hmm.
And so, in a much larger, broader sense, was to say that there's other species, there's other star people out there, really have our best interests in mind. You know,
Hmm.
we really, there's a lot of debates and thought about that. My personal opinion is that. that that there's probably hundreds of millions of other star beings, other nations, star nations out there, and some are good, some are bad. It's just kind of
Mhm.
like what happens here, we really mirrors really what happens out there. Like some nations here, have alliances and treaties and kind of all that, and we kind of stick together. And there's other people over there, really don't like us, and kind of thing, and that would
Mhm.
really do it harm, if they really could, type thing. And so, again, let's bring the medicine wheel back in. We always have to bring the medicine wheel. So, we are all absolutely related. We are a reflection here on the earth, the greater reflection. We are not just some like, hey, you know what? There's Earthlings. They're really weird. They got something really weird going on. It's just no. They are a part. We are part of the overall creation, and we are growing and learning. And one of those things is, that we're learning, hopefully sooner rather than later,
Right.
is that there's a beautiful star nations out there. There are absolutely beautiful star nations out there, and so one of those questions actually was posed to me um, this morning, and as because everybody was real excited.
Yeah.
Rachel
Yeah.
was talking about this right here.
I
It
love
says,
it.
yeah, they were all excited, just texting me messages and stuff, and said, why do you think the government is hiding that? And obviously, it's just one of those things is that it would cause, basic breakdown of social services, kind of thing, mass religious hysteria, everything, everything the Bible, talks about is just kind of like that would happen, Armageddon type thing,
Right.
what's that? Yeah, yeah, something like that. Because we're just not spiritually ready, because we're still fighting. The whites are still killing the blacks, and the whites are
Right.
still killing the red, and people are trying to get back to them, and Jews are killing the Arabs, and we just can't get it together. We can't pull it together. So what makes us think, in a practical sense, that once we introduce other species, that we would really embrace them, and really the fact is we're not ready to embrace them right now, but
Mhm.
we're still ready. We're about ready to have that conversation where, hey, look, man, something's out there, and we know energetically from those that really can see and feel the unseen. We were talking about that before the show, and it's
Mhm.
about that, energetically, that we know they're there. you know
Right.
we know they're there, and they're just like way beyond us in like technology. They could be standing right next to us, we would never even know, type thing. It's just like, does the ant know about the neighborhood? Like down the street, probably not.
Right.
And so that's really what we're. That's really, not too. Okay, we are spiritual ants. Okay, maybe this kind of
Right.
thing.
Right.
So one ant colony on one block doesn't even know about the ant colony on the other block. But again, the medicine
Exactly.
says that they're all related, but we just don't know. And we
Mhm.
haven't seen it. Again, there's the issue of certain religions have certain ideas about the earth people, and the earth people and the sky people, and
Uh-huh.
all that. But take a look back in history too. Is that there's been a lot of documentation of star beings visiting those civilizations, going back to Babylon, going back to Sumeria, going back to, you do any kind of history,
Uh-huh.
the Egyptians, things carved in, stars being
Even
flying
like
across
the
the sky.
Mayans and the Aztecs,
Absolutely,
the
absolutely,
Greeks.
absolutely. That is one of the things that really connects us all. It is, in a logical sort of way. It doesn't make sense that the Mayans would have the same kind of drawings and teachings, and memories, and connection to the star being that the Egyptians had, that were thousands of years apart. So
Right.
so
And then
you
not
know
only that, being lined up with the stars. So it's like they even all of
everything is lined up
the
with the stars. Yeah,
architecture,
yeah,
everything's
right.
aligned with those stars, and even like with
Yes,
Orion's belt. So it's the same thing.
exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
And so, let's go to let's go to, there's a lot of properties out there. Was it Chief Dan George said everything's connected in the big web of life, and really, really the deeper, the broader, the bigger, the more wonderful, we really look at that. It's just not just our human experience. It really begins in the individual, the family, the village, the continent. And now we're really expanding that thinking to really the universe type
Mhm.
thing. And it's really, so, when you say start, you are absolutely right. There's
Mhm.
energetically, that is so spot on, and thank you for, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Everything, I talk about harmony and balance, all the time. That's what the Metaphor says. That's
Right.
what the ancestors say. So how can we be different from them if we are in harmony and balance and really in the same universe, in the same web of life kind of thing?
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
they have just as much life out there as we do here on Earth, and probably more so, probably obviously more spiritually, emotionally, mentally, advanced than our Neanderthalic mind.
Mhm.
If I hear one more thing about Democrat or Republican, man, I would just freaking
Right.
makes you want to smudge your face, man. That
Right.
like kind of thing. It's kind of like that Neanderthal kind of like, thinking where it's just kind of like, come on, man, let's, I said something this morning, man. It's really, we really have to, like, if we're really going to do this, and this is really about survival of the species right now. It's really,
Mhm.
we have to start thinking it's not them against us. Is that we are all, that we are absolutely people of Earth, and we have to understand that we have to start taking care of Earth, and we start have to loving each other despite our uniquenesses and differences, but love ourselves because of that, not despite of that. So
Mhm.
so so that's so and it's 222 now. What a
Hey, that's a good
what a
number.
number. That's a good number, right? I know.
Yeah.
Something tells me we're in alignment right
Yep, you're
now.
in alignment.
So so now that we really kind of set the groundwork to what we're really talking about here, now it's not so out of bounds that hey, look, man, 13.8 billion years ago, maybe we're not like, we're not the apex of
Yep.
the universe right now. In
Uh-huh.
fact, star nations have been, um, I was going to tell a story, a star story from the Mohawk Nation, but I
Mm.
was thinking about it, praying about it, and they said no. But
Mm.
maybe a little, like a little later on, because it's not really my story, and I got it from a Mohawk elder too. It was
Mm.
at a Healing Turtle Island with Sherry Mitchell. She's the grandmother that put that together up at Penobscot, Maine, the Beacon up in Maine.
Mm.
We used to go up there every summer, but she brings in elders from all over the world talking about these creation stories, and how important that they are to our survival now, and really our relationships to those other those other star people that are here.
Uh-huh.
So, all right. So, so, um, time for a little smudge. Those of us who are,
Mhm.
there's no Armageddon happening today, everybody.
No,
So,
right.
so if you're out there, it's just, again, we're talking about, really just kind of expanding our consciousness, and it's really about expanding our our awareness, and really expanding our connection to
Mhm.
that awareness again. Let's, thank God I had beautiful elders. I always said, bring it back to the medicine. Well, that is our basic human teaching right there, and that is our survival guide for not only us but the rest of humanity too. So,
Mm-hmm.
once we have that, like there was another question too, and I'm kind of starting. I'm feeling the flow now in case
I
you
love
can't
it.
hear me.
Get
I'm
it.
feeling the flow.
I
So,
love it.
one of those other things is, Wayne, how many, what do they look like? What kind of species are there? And certain government agencies already know that. But energetically, you know energetically, there could be hundreds of them here already here, and if the Earth is 4.5 billion years old, they've probably been here before we got here, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They've probably been here, and it's kind of like. Again, let's bring it down to basic ideas and principles. Like there's a lot of waves in the ocean, kind of thing. The latest wave to move through is us right here. And our survival really depends on one our connection to the past, and one a connection to our future, but also connection down and also connection up. That's a direct medicine wheel teaching right there.
Mm-hmm.
Connecting to earth, and connection to the stars, and know that we really, energetically, we come from the stars, and we are star seeds right here, right now. And so, and another question was, well, what's our purpose here? Well, on a very human standpoint, it is to, celebrate life, and the continuation of that life. And so part of that is really expanding our mind, connecting to all life, and we really have to understand, connect, accept, make good connections, good relations with everything. Again, basic medicine is to the earth, to each other, and to the stars. And that's basically the four directions right there.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's really open up. There's a guy, actually I meant to call him for the show. So let's let's talk let's talk star people now. Okay,
Uh-huh.
we got the basics out of the way. There's a friend of mine. I meant to call him before the show. Jada,
Ah.
Jada, and he is able to do this thing, and he has a YouTube channel, and I'll get to post that in the feed. Not right now, but after the show, if that's okay,
Uh-huh.
Rachel.
Yeah. Yes, please.
We'll put that. He is able to call the star people in.
Mm.
How does he do that? Let's do it now.
Mm.
Everybody ready?
Yep. I'm
Okay.
ready.
So, it only works with absolute love in your heart. We talked about it before the show. Maybe we talked about it before. In other words, everything is energy. And, whether it's emotional, physical or spiritual, everything is absolutely energy. I think, what's that guy, Tesla? He got it
Mm-hmm.
right. Everything
Right.
is everything is energy. Everything is moving. Everything is borrowed. So everything that we have now will circulate through life. Again, another medicine will teach you. So we understand energetically that love is a real sound vibration, both seen and unseen, and it is what they would say, our ancestors would say, the perfect energy. The perfect energy. And I've seen his videos, and he would just say, nothing fancy, but again, Don Coyce always talked about the spirit of intent. The spirit of intent has to be so pure. When we do this, we just say, Star Nation, Star People. We are ready to see you. We are ready to make good relations with you. We have no fear in our hearts. We have nothing but love here for you. And we want to share that love with you. We want you to show us what that real love is. And it just simply begins with seeing you. because the visual is very strong and very important. It's one of the it's the construct of the mind is obviously sight. So sight is very strong, very powerful. Um, and so Jada would do that, and then within a few minutes, if not seconds, there would be star beams, in and around us, right where we would able to see them. In fact, there's a friend of mine. She's in Florida now, the Como, and I'm sorry I said your name, but it's
No.
but she can do that too. She can call the star beam. In fact, we would have conversations. I like like I'd be on the phone with her, and she would call them in, and they would just kind of move through the trees, kind of thing. you know but the thing is, this is like the beginning of really kind of just getting our spiritual feet wet to really understanding and really, love this first contact. They've been in contact with us since the very beginning, so it's just
Uh-huh.
kind of like been in contact with us since before we were here, kind of thing. And we'll get to that a little later, but it's kind of like the first human non-governmental contact. And I will give you anybody who wants his YouTube channel. Just go to his YouTube channel, and man, I'm gonna give him a call after the show. Maybe at a later date you want to get a hold of this
Yeah.
cat, man. This
Yeah.
cat is
Have him
really,
come on.
really, he is powerful. He's one of those. He's a Rasta guy, man. He's a white
Uh,
Rasta guy, man, but
uh,
he is beautiful and powerful. And and like he's family to me because we've sat and lodged together. And one of those things is in lodge that Tony Stonehawk, back 30 years ago when I was, of course, sitting with him, like he would call in the star people, and I'm looking at him like, come from a colonial mind, like, oh my God, this guy's freaking lost his mind. What's that? But I was like, oh my God, oh my God, what lodge did I
what am
go
I
into?
gonna
And I'd be like
see?
sitting like this. I'll be like sitting in here like this. And, he says that's one of the seven directions. So,
Hmm.
and that's again, let's just go back to the medicine. These are all ancient teachings right here. They are one of the seven directions. You know, the sky.
Hmm.
The sky is that's what they are referring to. So when we call in the spirits, one of the directions that we call in are the star nations, because we understand energetically that we are them and they are us. Just like the DNA of the trees, that we are them and they are us. The star people, we are them, and they are us. I think. And so,
Hmm.
any thoughts?
Oh, I'm like, my
Oh,
mind's
Rachel.
like going all over the place and things. I'm like,
Yeah,
one
that's
of
right.
one of the things that just came into my
So,
mind,
so,
that
so,
if you want to
yeah,
talk about actually like meteor showers and shooting stars, um,
yeah,
one thing
yeah.
that I was shown many years ago when I was sitting in prayer outside is that I started seeing the stars coming in. And it
Right,
was
right.
when I was married to my ex-husband. He was
Mm,
Navajo. And so he would always, when he would see a shooting star, he would be
mm,
blowing the star away. And I'd look at him, I go, why are you blowing the star away? And he goes,
right,
because I'm not ready for a child. Or I'm like, I don't want that
mm,
child. And so then I kind
right,
of
right,
looked at him, I was like, oh, okay. So then I started praying and I was like, what is this? What is this
right,
teaching
right, right,
of
right,
the
right,
stars, and why is he blowing the stars away? So then I
right.
started seeing that if you have seen the new like I think it's I don't remember if it's Disney or it's one of those new movies that just came out for kids. It's
Yeah.
called Soul. And if you
So
see,
I
yeah,
know.
Soul,
Yes.
okay? So
So yeah, yeah,
Soul. So
yeah,
I'm gonna kind of like use that as my visual for what I'm about to talk about. So
yeah.
like for
So
me, I the veil never closed for me. I still remember
yeah,
long,
yeah,
long before I came here to this physical earth. So in that movie Soul, they are
yeah,
jumping out of, they're up in heaven and they're jumping into out of into this hole. and they're
Yep.
jumping
Yeah.
into the
Hmm.
universe. And each
Hmm.
one of them, if you're seeing, so the main character, he's trying to jump back into his body, and he's like going through the universe, but then he gets pulled back. And
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
like he's trying to like
Yeah.
go back, but there's nothing there for
Yeah.
his body to his spirit to actually physically meet in a body. So then he's like going through, but then it comes to where he's with the child, and he's like, well, I can jump with you as far as you can. So then you start looking and you start seeing all of these children, these spirits, and they're jumping, but
Yep.
each
Yeah.
one, they're in their own individual lane. If you pay attention, they're
Right.
not all, even
Right.
though they're jumping from the same center, they're
Source.
not going in the same portal in the sense. Each one has
Right.
their own direction in
Right.
line. And
Right.
so I have this book. It's over there, but it's a Lakota Star book, and it even talks about
Mm.
this in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Star book,
Mm.
about the
Right.
mother and the women carrying that star chart inside of us, and carrying
Mm.
the
Right. Right.
star beings inside
The
of us.
women. The women.
Yes, the women.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
the women.
How important
And
is that? Thank you for bringing that up. Absolutely.
yes, yes, because that connects us to the
Yeah.
womb of the sweat lodge, and traveling in that sweat lodge, being that
Yeah. Yeah.
portal device that
Yeah.
travels
Mhm.
to the
Yeah.
stars and puts us in that plane. So it's that
Yeah.
same, that womb of the sweat lodge is the same as the mother's womb. So
Yeah.
it's that
Yeah.
energetic of that space travel,
Yeah.
of being that portal to be able to go. So that child
Mm.
is connected to the
It
mother's
is.
womb energetically. So when they travel through that space to be born, you're seeing the actual spirit
Mm.
flying
Mm.
through
Mm.
this through
Mm.
the
Mhm.
sky, and it's
Mhm.
so fast that we see it
Right.
as a shooting star.
Mhm. Right.
Then that I was
Mhm.
told that those are the spirits coming, being
Mm.
born onto
Mm.
this earth when
Mm.
you're seeing
Mm.
those shooting
Right.
stars and things like that.
Right.
And
Right.
so,
Okay.
and then I was told too that, like in the Big Dipper in the center is where we travel through.
Mm.
There's that portal that travels through and it connects.
Right.
And
Right.
what
Right.
goes
Mm.
too is
Mm.
like
Mm.
you go through ceremonies and you go through teachings and things.
Yeah.
And there
Yeah.
was and even in Native American books and things, especially with like the Lakota stars, um, it talks about all of this. It
Oh, thank
talks
you.
about
Thank you. Thank
the womb being connected, the earth lodge, the
you.
sweat
Yeah.
lodge being
Yeah.
that portal
Earth Lodge. I
device
love
that
that.
helps travel and connect you to the universe. And that's, that right there is what helps us receive those prayers quicker. So
Mm.
it's like we're
Mm.
we're traveling and
Mm.
we're
Mm.
going into that universal plane where,
Mm.
you're calling in those
Right.
star people, you're
Right.
calling in those ancestors, you're calling in
Right. Right.
creator, so
Right.
that you
Right.
can meet in this spiritual plane, so that you can
Yeah.
learn and talk and
The
connect.
intersection between the seen and the
Exactly.
unseen,
Yes.
the physical and the spiritual realm. And we as men don't have that, but you as women do. And that's what makes you so much more powerful than anything, because you have the intersection of life within you, and we as men don't have that. No.
Right. Right.
You
So
know,
that's one of
so yeah,
so that's one of that
yeah,
connections that I was
yeah.
thinking about. So that, it's there's the symbolism. So for those of you that don't know, I mean, that portal, that device, with
Mm,
women and the sweat lodge, and the
mm,
earth lodge,
mm,
those
yeah,
ceremonies, if you
right.
look at it's in the shape of a hump.
So,
And so if
mm,
you were to
yeah,
take that sweat lodge and move
the
it
womb.
sideways and look at the
Yeah,
woman, it's the shape
yeah,
of the
right,
womb. And so
right,
what's
right.
interesting
So,
is that when I was born, I didn't get to go through that portal that cuts off the memory from the previous life. And so
right.
I was
Hmm.
actually taken
So,
out sideways. I was a
mm,
C-section. So I actually was taken out sideways.
mhm,
And I remember going into this portal, coming here to Earth. And I remember
mm,
seeing the white light that I was supposed to go
mhm,
through, which
mhm,
would have
yeah,
been the birth canal. But I ended
yeah,
up getting pulled out sideways. And when I got pulled out sideways in the C-section, that veil was never closed for me. So it was
mm,
like this, for the veil of forgetfulness was,
yeah,
I didn't have that veil for forgiveness. So
yeah,
I still remember a lot
yeah, right,
before I even came here.
right,
And so it's
yeah,
interesting is that as you go along in life and things, it was like I've always had this higher sense of knowledge and understanding of where I came from, and even as a little girl. And I remember I would say certain things growing up, and my mom would kind of like look at me and be like, "Oh, kind of dismiss me in a way because I'm such a young child, like, oh, that's not possible, or that's
Right.
not gonna happen, or that's
Right.
not this, or
Right.
certain things." But then
Right.
I just remember just being like maybe 2, 3 years old,
Mm.
and being like, no, I'm right. This is what it is. I
Right. Right.
understand.
Right.
Like I'm like, I didn't forget. So I'm like, no, you'll understand when I get older, type thing. So then I
Yeah.
fast forward 30 years and I revisit those conversations. And now
Mhm.
my
Right.
mom's, kind of, and my family's like, oh, like now I
Mm. Right.
understand. Or
Right.
that's what you were
Right.
saying when you were little and things like that. And so it was like
Yeah.
this sense of knowledge,
You know.
that the star people, have. It can
Right.
be difficult being on the physical, the human plane, and having a sense of belonging,
Yeah.
and trying to live a human life when you have so much more of like a different knowledge.
Right.
And it
Right.
becomes challenging, like what you were saying, like with the government and certain things like that, and spiritual knowledge and
Yeah.
awareness and levels as we go. It takes a lot of patience for Star Nation, the Star
Yeah.
people, for us
Yeah.
to uh
Yeah.
not get so like I want to smack you across the face and wake up and shake you and like, come on, like, let's go move
Right.
forward, let's advance, let's get out of this kind
Yeah.
of like this battle that
Yeah.
we're in of it's my way, no, it's my way, or
Right. Right.
and the
Right.
good and the evil. And it's like, can we
Right.
just like link and go together and move forward and create a better
Celebration of
future?
life.
Yes,
Celebration of life.
exactly.
Create a better celebration of life, which is really a really deep, deep terminology. Again, I'm sorry I keep bringing up the
Yep,
medicine wheel, but
good.
you're just saying that the deeper celebration, of life that really brings, that really brings, that beauty. And one of those things is, I can feel these questions coming on,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
so certain questions that it had toward me, and I'm going to address that with what you just spoke about is, on a spiritual plane. We don't question anybody else's memory type thing.
Uh-huh.
We don't question that. Your memory is your memory, and because it's your memory, that's your truth. And we don't really question anybody else's truth because we know the spirit of intent is about love and growth. So when we talk about other, because every little tribe has little differences, nuances
Mm-hmm.
towards star people, towards different realms, different dimensions, type that we already know it's there because
Mm-hmm.
we know. So every tribe, every elder that has received a teaching, that's perfect. That's perfect. And again, we have to get away from that colonial narrative of, well, what, Rachel was right and Wayne's wrong type thing. We
Right.
really have to kind of step away from that. Again, that's like Neanderthal thinking. Just like right or wrong, good, bad, compartmentalizing, that kind of thing. We really have to get away from that, and we have to understand that every memory, every prayer, every teaching, um, not only comes from the ancestors, but the farther back we go, our ancestors come from the stars. And so those prayers, those teachings are meant to help the people at that time. What the people needed to hear, what they needed to understand, and to grow spiritually, connection, awareness, greater love, greater connection to all life. So that's one of the reasons for those differences, between the tribes, and just like the Hopis, you're doing the
Mm-hmm.
Hopis and Navajo and the Zuma, they got their own thing going on, and then like the northern tribes, so they're northern woodland tribes, like the Blood tribes, Blood, Cree, Soto. We
Uh-huh.
have, we have a little different kind of thing. But again,
Right.
we have to get away from that Neanderthal thing. It's like, well, know what, Rachel, you are absolutely wrong, and Wayne is right. And then other
Right.
people
Right.
say, well, Rachel is all right, and Wayne is freaking out of his mind. Why would Wayne, Wayne is out of his mind, and,
Or how about they're
especially
just both out of their mind? We're both out of
we're
our
just
mind.
both out of our mind. Yeah. Well, we really open ourselves up, to those kind of thoughts and
Yep.
criticism. Uh,
It's
but
okay. I know
again,
I'm crazy. No.
I know I'm crazy too.
I'm
Well,
proud of
I just,
it.
yeah, yeah. And I got my wounds to prove it. So,
Yep.
scars to prove it. So, so, so yeah, that was a little, that was kind of one of those things, those questions. I can feel energetically, I feel the questions come up. And so I want to like
Yep.
hit them on the head before they,
They
as we kind
disappear.
of go, yeah, as we kind of go along. So, so I just love it the way you just brought up, the womb and that connection to all life, not just the life here,
Uh-huh.
but soul, and that
Uh-huh.
other, those other realms. And we really have to understand, and if anybody's learned anything from this, is that women have the intersection between the seen and the unseen, the physical and the spiritual within themselves already. And that's why men have to go. Actually, the sweat lodge was originally a man's ceremony, because we as men, we fall short.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why we fall short. One, we don't have a cycle. Well, we have cycles, but we don't have the monthly cleansing cycle,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
that the women
That
have.
mooning.
And so we don't have that moon cycle. So the elders said, well, we have to have a cleanse too. So what did they do? They created a moon. They
Hmm.
created that place. They created the sweat lodge where we can go back into the womb and connect the seen and the unseen, the spiritual and the physical together. So we can live, understand at that intersection and know that we are connected to all of life. That's one of the teachings behind that, you know,
Uh-huh.
you
Uh-huh.
know. It's not just you and me sitting in, like, white people call it, like, a tent. Oh, you're gonna do
Right.
that tent,
Right.
sweat house thing today. I'm like, well,
Uh-huh.
it's a little deeper than that.
Right.
It's a little deeper than that. Come on, let's let's talk about
teletransporter.
that. Let's talk about that. And and I can't talk really specific about what happened in Sweat Lodge, but there's some magical
Exactly.
things. There's some magical things that 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 I've seen in there. Kind of like that backdrop that we're looking at.
Hmm.
I've seen that in some ceremonies, just
In
kind of
there.
just kind
Uh-huh.
of open up, just kind of open up like that. And that's the star people showing us, hey, look, there's something big and beautiful out there for us. And we have to kind of get out of our little little mind, little kind of religious kind of mind kind of set, where they box everything up into real nice little chunks, and they kind of force feed us that, but it's really
Uh-huh.
much something bigger, something more beautiful, out there. And then, it's just for us to really understand that, start to, and this takes generations. So this conversation has been going on for
Long time.
generations, long, long time. But now, like, we're in a new we're in a
Like a
new world
wave.
now.
It's like a
We're
wave.
in
It's a
Yeah,
new wave.
we're in like a new world now where we will receive, like we're at the beginning. This could be hundreds of years. So we are in the beginning of a new relationship, new understanding. We are able, energetically and spiritually, emotionally and mentally, ready to what, as they would say, level up, as
Uh-huh.
far as understanding and connecting to our real spirit. The axiom is that spiritual roots are in the sky.
Right. Right.
That's 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 really, that's really where we're at right now. So, you know,
I love it. I'm like,
So
we could
wow.
actually
I mean,
finish over here. Wrap it up now. Like we're at 10 minutes. We're at moose ears. No.
well, that I got a lot of other ideas sitting right here that we even haven't touched to. So it's really
Right. So stay
so.
we'll talk after. I'm like, well, maybe we'll see if we can sneak you in next week and do
Yeah,
another part 2 for star people.
absolutely.
And
Yeah,
we'll pick
yeah,
this up
yeah.
next week.
Yes. Okay.
That'll
All
be
right.
good. So everyone stay tuned and I'll keep you posted. Wayne will keep you posted. And we'll
So,
pick back up on the Star Nation, Star People
oh,
in the next week.
so
And we'll continue because there's a lot more. But you got something you want to finish. Go ahead.
I do. For those, and I noticed this with Rachel the first time that we spoke. I don't even know when the first time we spoke, but look at her eyes, and they shift colors, they shift. That's a Star Nation trait right there. And energetically, I picked up on that right away. They change colors, and if you look at her eyes, they change colors, and so that's when the star beings, they say, I could talk to grandfather telling me about that. I said, you know what, man? I said, man, I'm talking to this girl Rachel, and her eyes just keep doing this funny thing, and I'm doing what I'm doing now. I'm like, oh my god, her eyes. What
Like
do I
what's
do?
happening?
Yeah,
What do
yeah.
you have? What do you
And
have? What do you have?
and I picked up on Star Nations right away because energetically, and Pop said that's a Star Nation trait right there. So, that's one of the things. And the older teaching too, by the way. God, we're still going, aren't we? Okay. So
Right?
so
But see,
the
the thing is I
so
knew you see it. I already knew that you
I
knew.
see. Yeah.
I already knew.
Uh, uh, well, that's okay. So, okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Not many people pick up on
So
that.
it's interesting.
Not many
So
people. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
just been waiting for you to figure it out. I wasn't gonna say anything. It was like
Yeah.
I'm gonna let
Yeah.
him figure it out and
That's a Star Nation trait.
give
Yeah. So,
yep, yep.
and I don't know if I mentioned to you last time, but it was a long time ago that the blue eyes closer to here and the brown eyes are closer to here type thing. A
Mm-hmm.
little bit more grounded here, a little bit more up there. So it kind of gives and again, let's not think good or bad, right or wrong. Let's just take that narrative out of there and just say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is. And it's all beautiful. Let's just say that.
Well, if you
Like
go
we
on
said as
to
people, it's all beautiful.
right.
It's all beautiful.
Well, there's a video on that. I actually posted a video on the
Yeah,
Rising Warriors page, and it's one
yeah,
of
yeah.
our beautiful relatives talking about brown eyes and talking about
Really?
the
Wow.
beauty and strength behind brown eyes. And so I
Mm.
did that on purpose because a lot of people are always talking
Yeah,
about my eyes. And I'm like, but
yeah,
I
yeah.
understand why I have my eyes. But I'm like, but your eyes are beautiful and you have brown eyes. You should be,
Mm.
those are grounding eyes. Those are
Mm.
powerful
Right,
eyes.
right,
And
right,
those
right.
those are the eyes that can
Mm.
shake
Yeah.
and rumble the earth. It's
Mm.
like there's
That's so
strength and
true.
power and there's
Right,
beauty
right,
in the brown, in those brown
right.
eyes. So
Mm.
you
Mm.
know, I just
Yeah,
want to stay with those, don't
yeah.
don't get discouraged about the color of your eyes. Love the color of your eyes. Creator gave you your eyes.
You're beautiful. You're
And they're
beautiful.
beautiful. Yep.
You're all beautiful. Let's remember
Yep.
that.
Yep.
So,
Every one of you are
yeah,
beautiful. So let's leave it on
love
that.
it. Okay. All right. Well,
All right,
mm,
everyone,
so,
relatives, we'll see you next week for Star People Part 2. And thank you for joining us. And we will see you guys on the other side for Part 2. And not more stuff to come. I'm excited. We've got a lot of
so
good topics and things coming.
talk about particulars of what we started today. So particulars next week, the actual
Exactly.
sentinel beings that are out there and how to pick up on them energetically. So
Yes.
stay tuned.
Have a good
Love
day,
it.
everyone.
Okay.
Blessings.